Coming up next on Tech News Today, Shazam's taking over Latin America. Tech workers are really, really young. And who will buy Hulu? No, seriously, we're ready for somebody to buy Hulu. All that and more coming up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Monday, July 8th, 2013. Tech News Today is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used Samsung Galaxy, iPhone, and other smartphones are worth at Gazelle.com. And by TechServe. TechServe assists U.S. businesses of all sizes with their technology needs, including Apple, Avid, Adobe, and HP solutions. Visit TechServe.com/TNT and receive a complimentary iPad Deploy assessment. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Maya Zakhtar.
And I'm Jason Howell.
Tom Merritt is on vacation this week. We hope you're having a very good time, Tom, and not watching the show, because that's not what vacation's all about. But this is the show where we keep you up to date on the most important stories in the tech world. Try to put them in some context for you. And we'll start with the top 10 stories of the day in the News Fuse. The U.S.'s surveillance court has created a secret body of law giving the NSA the power to collect data on Americans in order to follow not just terrorism suspects, but also people possibly involved in nuclear activity, espionage, and cyber attacks, say officials. Some of these findings are over 100 pages long and reveal that the court has taken on quite a bit more power by assessing broad constitutional questions, establishing precedents, and without public scrutiny, according to current and former officials familiar with the court's classified decisions.
The Washington Post reports that there are a group of lawyers from the FBI, the Departments of Defense, Justice, and Homeland Security whose job was ensuring that surveillance requests got fulfilled quickly and confidentially. The agreements didn't allow surveillance, but made sure the companies had a secure way to give the data over to the U.S. government. The first major agreement was the Network Security Agreement signed back in September 2003 by Tier 1 carrier Global Crossing.
Facebook has started rolling out the advanced search feature it announced earlier this year to all users in the U.S. It's called Graph Search, and it allows users to conduct more advanced searches like restaurants in San Francisco that my friends like, or photos of my family before 1995, and get detailed results. It would be a few weeks before everybody who uses Facebook using U.S. English setting is going to see the new feature, but several hundreds of millions of people are going to start getting it this week, the company told ABC News.
Bloomberg reports that way back in 2010, Don Matrick was in active negotiations with Mark Pincus. The goal of the talks was for Microsoft to acquire Zinga. Obviously, that didn't happen, but somewhere in a parallel universe, Haloville exists, and it's awful.
Western governments are set to target a range of loopholes, tax loopholes, used by technology companies, big ones like Apple, Amazon, and Google, as part of an international effort to tackle corporate tax avoidance. A draft action plan seen by Reuters has said. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, which advises mainly rich nation members on economic and tax policies, has been charged by the G20 group of countries with formulating measures to stop big companies shifting profits into tax havens.
Microsoft will be ending its MSN TV service on September 30th. MSN TV, formerly known as Web TV, brought something called the Internet to something called a television.
What?
Microsoft alerted MSN TV subscribers via email and said it was a difficult decision to end the service. But how will we get Internet on our TVs now, Microsoft? What should we do?
I think they're just way before their time.
Maybe.
Yeah, Web TV. It's a good idea. A slew of popular apps for iPhone and iPad have gone free today in order to celebrate 5 years since Apple launched the App Store. Got a lot of games like Infinity Blade 2, Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery EP, Where's My Water, Badland, Tiny Wings, all for free, alongside apps like Tractor DJ, Day One, How to Cook Everything, and Barefoot World Atlas. Some of these apps are usually a lot more than free. So get them while they're hot.
10 to $20. I downloaded them anyway.
Yeah.
New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman says that Verizon is violating a state order because Verizon is telling customers in parts of Fire Island to accept wireless phone service instead of repairs to landlines. Service was disrupted in that area due to Hurricane Sandy. Schneiderman says Verizon is trying to depart from a century of telephone service regulation and wants to fine the company $100,000 per day. Verizon says it hasn't violated the state order, and its offer for wireless service is optional.
Researchers at the MIT Media Lab have put together a visual family tree of sorts of your Gmail life with a tool called Immersion. What does that mean? Well, it's a web app, and once you grant it permission to basically access your Gmail, we'll dig through your email history and put together a people-centric view of your email life. So the senders, recipients, even people who are CC'd, timestamps within your email are all part of the data that it pulls together. It doesn't pull subject lines or actual bodies of your messages, just really the people. But the end result is kind of an interesting cluster of who you've talked to, and depending on how long you've had a Gmail account, for quite a few years.
GPS company Garmin announced the HUD, which will place navigation instructions on your windshield. The HUD is a small device you'd place on your dashboard that projects your instructions on a piece of film on the glass. The HUD itself is not a GPS. You'll have to pair it with Garmin's Street Pilot or Navigon apps for phones. It's going to cost about $130, and it's coming out this summer.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Gazelle. If you want that new Samsung Galaxy S4, I know some of you do, perhaps the HTC One, that's interesting to you, iPhone 5, there might be something else coming up this year. Before you upgrade, you want to sell your used phone or gadget to Gazelle for cash, so you've got the cash to get the stuff that you actually want. Find out how much you can get at gazelle.com today. The way it works is you just go to gazelle.com, Gazelle.com, and then you enter in your item. You say what you got. Tell Gazelle the condition of that item, and don't worry if it's kind of banged up, because they'll even buy broken iPhones and iPads. Then Gazelle will give you an offer for your gadget based on the condition it's in and how old it is and what it is. That quote is locked in for 30 days, which is really helpful. Then you send Gazelle your gadget, and they pay you fast by check, by PayPal, or if you choose an Amazon gift card, you get an extra 5%. Gazelle is now buying back a large section of tablets as well, so it's not just the iPad. You can also select Samsung, Google Nexus, Kindle Fire, Microsoft Surface, Asus tablets as well. Go to gazelle.com now to get an offer for one of your devices. Do it today because, of course, as we all know, gadgets lose value every day that we wait. So again, with Gazelle, you get paid in cash. Offers are good for 30 days, and it's easy. Shipping's free. In fact, most items qualify for a free box. Thanks, Gazelle. And it's a fast process. No hassle at all. Get money for the gadgets that are just sitting around in your closet or that junk drawer of yours. What's your iPhone, Samsung, or other Android smartphone worth? Take a minute to gazelle.com to find out today. That's gazelle.com, and we thank them for sponsoring this episode of Tech News Today. Joining us now to discuss some of the stories of the day is Nicole Lee, Associate Editor of Engadget.com, but also former Twit employee and alum. Hi, Nicole.
Hello, how are you?
Very well,
I'm doing
thanks.
very well.
Thanks for joining us. Are you having a happy Monday?
Well, it's Monday, but it's Monday after a 4-day weekend, which is, I'm refreshed. I'm definitely refreshed.
Oh, well, that makes one of us.
So.
Yeah, just one of us. Energy level's going to be low today.
Okay, well, we'll do our best.
good.
Thanks, Nicole, for joining us
Sure.
on the Monday after a long weekend. Let's start off with an interesting story in the New York Times today that is looking at basically large technology companies and how they might differ from other kinds of corporate companies, specifically in the median age range of their employees. PayScale, which is a company based in Seattle, did a sort of a sweep search of a variety of large technology companies and found that only 6 of the 32 companies it looked at had a median age over 35 years old. 8 of those companies had median employee ages of 30 or younger. Women were usually less than 30% of the workforce, and in certain fields of technology, like semiconductors, actually represented an even smaller number. So you might say, well, all right, so what kind of companies are we talking about here? 5 companies with the oldest workers, median age, again, and of course medium is the average middle, so workers could be older or younger, but median age, in descending order of median age, were IBM, median age 38 years old, Oracle 38, Nokia 36, Dell 37, Sony 36 as well. On the other side of it, the 7 companies with the youngest median age of workers, this is from youngest to oldest, were Epic Games, 26 years old, Facebook 28, Zinga also 28, Google 29, and then AOL, Blizzard, Infosys, and Monster.com all at 30. Now, when you just look at the comparison of these companies, you've got older median age, younger median age. The first thing that jumps out at me is, it's sort of the old guard of tech versus the new upcoming companies of tech. Not necessarily the future giants of tech, but the upcoming. Do we think that older workers attached to companies that sometimes, in the case of, let's say, HP, which is having a bit of a challenge trying to figure out what the next step is in a slowing PC market, does that somehow reflect badly on a company, or does that just mean that they've got people who have more experience and actually, in general, have more skills overall? Nicole, what do you think?
I don't know. I think there's the whole dichotomy between experience and youth, right? Like a lot of these companies, like Facebook and the social media companies, I don't think it's so much so experience versus anything else. It's just that they're more familiar with Facebook or they're more familiar with social media, so therefore they would want to hire these people because just because the familiarity is there, and maybe I don't know, maybe the older generation, they're not as hip to the newer technologies. Like I think the same article you pointed to, they're saying the difference in programming languages, C++ versus Python versus Java. So there's that whole difference as well. But it's hard to say because, like, for example, the downside of having all these young workers as well is that they tend to jump jobs more frequently. I mean, I think a lot of the older workers, maybe they're just there because there's more loyalty involved. There's more incentive to stay with the company. Maybe the company offers more incentives. For example, if you're there for like 5-10 years, maybe you get like more vacation. Maybe you get like a bigger bonus at the end of the year. Whereas I think younger workers, I mean, I don't know, but they may be more willing to jump jobs after like a year or two, just to like get a higher salary somewhere else.
Yeah, Nicole, you make a good point about just the skills themselves. I mean, if you know C++, well, if you're at a company that needs you to know Python, they'll just hire somebody who they can pay less, who already knows that because that's the new language, right? According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the overall median age in the U.S. is 42.3 years old. So, of course, when you're looking at tech companies versus companies in general, enterprise companies, it certainly skews younger. Ayaz, do you think that somehow not having as much emphasis on learning a skill that you take with you for your career, 20, 25 years or more than that, is dangerous?
I don't know if it's necessarily dangerous. And looking at these companies here, it seems like the older folks are where hardware was. IBM used to do hardware. They obviously are doing a lot more R&D than anything else. Oracle, Nokia, Dell, Sony. These are companies that had to get a lot of equipment to do something. Then you look at these younger folks who are working on a lot of software. We got Google, Epic Games, Blizzard. That makes a lot more sense because I'm just thinking when I was a kid, when I couldn't drive, I ended up learning to play guitar. Now, I probably could end up just learning all these languages instead because what else are you going to do when you can't drive and you're just stuck there all day? You'll learn to program things for your phone, for the web. And that's what I think we're seeing right now is just a bunch of kids who are just like, I can make this work better. This is going to be fine. I'm expecting, a lot more movement of these folks. I'm sure that Facebook will stay young for a while, but it's going to become the old guard at some point. Yeah. Probably, another 5 years, they'll be like old men. They're like, Facebook just doesn't get it. They're just,
the social market has slowed. Kids don't do that anymore.
Yeah, that whole graph search thing. They're like, what were we thinking? That was such a long time ago. Yeah, it's just different. But AOL, though, being young, they've done a huge shift, though. They were a mess for a while. Yeah. But maybe it does show that you might have to invest in younger people to make a difference. Nokia's got average is 36. They need some help. So does Dell.
All right, well, let's move on to another company that needs some help, and that's Hulu. What's the latest?
Yeah, okay, so the Hollywood Reporter reports that there are 3 major suitors left for Hulu. The final bids are in, I think. The 3 are DirecTV, the Chernin Group, and Guggenheim Digital Media. Now, the Hollywood Reporter took a look at each one and what they would do with Hulu. DirecTV, they're saying that the company could use Hulu as a standalone business or just create the world's best TV Anywhere app. DirecTV could use Hulu to keep subscribers. According to Macquarie Capital, if a third of DirecTV subscribers signed on to Hulu, it would raise DirecTV revenue by 3% right there. Then there's Guggenheim. Now, this is a private equity buyer headed by former Yahoo Ross Levinson. He was also one of the original architects of Hulu while at Fox Interactive Media. Now, an analyst, Richard Greenfield, says this would add a point of distribution for Hulu's current owner. So Disney could put out stuff over there. The option also will allow Hulu to retain its entrepreneurial spirits, according to the Hollywood Reporter, since it's not tied down to old deals like DirecTV. And finally, there's the Chernin Group, which is headed by Peter Chernin, who was the president and CEO of News Corp at one point, and it's backed by AT&T's money. AT&T could use Hulu as a TV everywhere platform as well. Nicole, who do you think is going to end up with Hulu? And what do you expect? What changes do you expect if that company takes over?
Who's going to end up with it versus who I want to end up with it are very different questions. I kind of think, obviously, it seems as if the one with the most money would end up getting it. I mean, DirecTV has a huge clout, huge market behind it. And, AT&T seems like a huge money grab as well. I do think, though, that part of Hulu's appeal is what is the content on there. So I think part of me thinks that Guggenheim might be the best one in terms of just keeping the content that it has already, because I'm afraid that if DirecTV takes it, or if AT&T, quote unquote, Chernin takes it, that they would just change the content so dramatically. Like it would be like a DirecTV.com or whatever, and it won't be Hulu anymore. It would just be like a DirecTV clone or a AT&T clone. So part of me hopes like a third party, like a Guggenheim or somebody else with the more independent-minded spirit takes it over, but that might be sort of dreaming, pipe dreams or something.
Sarah, you're just waiting for me to say it. Sarah, you're a cord cutter.
Oh, I am, yeah.
Have you heard you're a cord cutter?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
In case
it
you
had
forgot.
been a full 12 minutes since I thought about it.
Would you go with DirecTV? I mean, they don't have a cord at all. They got a satellite, right? It could be kind of neat. Which company do you think will end up with Hulu?
Well, the whole if Hulu subscribers signed on to, if DirecTV subscribers rather signed on to Hulu, it could raise DirecTV revenue by 3%.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, without any other initiative on DirecTV's part. And DirecTV is, I don't know, I mean, my mom has DirecTV. She likes it quite a bit. It's, they have happy customers. But this could help DirecTV immensely. Yeah. However, it kind of seems like one of these other options is a lot better for Hulu. Now, I am a Hulu subscriber. I subscribe to Hulu Plus. I use the service almost daily. I like it. It has its limitations, and most of that is just its library. But in general, I want it to succeed. I'd like the library to be bigger. I think that Hulu has a great interface. Something, if it was fronting AT&T's cable network, for example, that makes sense for them too because it looks nice. But I think that that's probably the least attractive of all of these choices for me.
Yeah, the Chernin Group and DirecTV, I'm thinking they already have deals with these content providers. They might have the ability to keep Hulu as a service that has a bunch of television content. I'm kind of scared if Guggenheim gets it, even though they should be, independent and everything. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be able to land the deals because they don't have the same kind of sway as DirecTV or AT&T with that kind of money and their cable offerings or I guess television offerings. But if Guggenheim does get it, it just seems like it'd be a big win for Ross Levinson because Yahoo's been going after or had been going after Hulu and video for the longest time. Looks like Yahoo's out of the picture, but former Yahoo, Ross Levinson, that CEO who was there for about 6 months or something after that Scott Thompson debacle. If he can get this company, I think Hulu would be much more like what we're used to now. But once it goes to DirecTV or Chernin, we're probably looking at a new paywall or you need to be a subscriber already. And I just don't know if we'll still have that free service that we have right now.
Although the service, I mean, again, Hulu Plus, not free, but it's still ad-based. So There's a lot of improvement to be had with Hulu. I'm just not sure that any of these outcomes are going to improve it for the consumer.
See, I think strangely that Hulu came out with Hulu Desktop. I think it's still in beta, which lets you look at Hulu in that giant, 10-foot interface. I don't think with DirecTV or Churnin would you even have those options. You might start scaling back and say, you're limited to mobile, you're limited to this, and on the web, we're not going to give you anything unless you have a paywall.
Well, moving on to the web, some other facet of the web. You mentioned Facebook getting a little long in the tooth, Maybe search won't be around too much longer. But for now, Facebook has brought its graph search function to all U.S. users. It's rolling out as we speak, started today. Now, I've had this functionality for a while because, I don't know, I was lucky enough to be able to be one of the people who it seemed to roll out for almost immediately when it was announced a few months ago. But the idea behind graph search is it's a search engine of sorts within Facebook that uses your friend graph, friends of friends, things that people like, groups that you're a part of, to start suggesting potential searches for you, apparently to better understand what people are searching for. And then we'll display the most relevant results first. So, for example, instead of searching Facebook for someone's name or a particular group that you know about or maybe a particular page, you could ask intelligent questions like, friends of mine over 30 in San Francisco. I don't know why you would ever want to search for that, but I actually did have a situation the other day where a friend of mine was trying to put together a big party for her husband, and she said, what I wish I could do on Facebook? I wish I could just filter out all of the people who I know couldn't come to this party in San Francisco and just invite all of the people who are local. And I said, why don't you use Facebook Graph Search? And she had never heard of it. She didn't even know that it existed. So I think that there are certainly situations that this comes in real handy. There isn't a mobile version yet. That's still in the works. And Facebook still hasn't made posts, status updates, and comments searchable. So it's more about the About Me section of your friends and who they're friends with and what groups they might be associated with, what college they might have gone to. That's what Facebook Graph Search is still pulling from. I guess maybe I'm not being trying hard enough, but I don't know that many instances where I've ever found this useful. Nicole, am I missing something here?
It's funny. I've had Graph Search for like a month or so as well, and I've never used it. I've had it for like probably since the first day it was announced, and I think I maybe used it once to just try it out, but I've never used it. I've never found this urge to like find out exactly like people over 30 who went to Stanford who live in San Francisco. Like it's just I don't. Maybe like you said, maybe there are specific instances where they send out like a bunch of invites for a specific group of people, perhaps. But I already have my friends list. I already have like a list of people that I group together by coworkers and family and so forth. So. I don't know. Maybe I'm just maybe you and me, Sarah. We're the only ones who can't figure out why we want to use this.
Part of this happened. This almost reminds me of when browsers come up with something that's unique and different, and I go, "Ooh, that's unique and different." But I'm so used to searching for things in a certain way, browser style, in a search box, that I find this Facebook feature to be. It's like a little brain teaser where I go, "All right, now how do I have to say this to make it work?" It doesn't seem that natural to me, and maybe that's just because we've been learning how search works a different way for so long.
Well, I'm playing with Graph Search. I've had it for, I don't know how long. It seems like when it came out the first time I got it, and so I've gotten used to it being there, so I forgot this was a new thing.
Yeah.
But now it's pre-populated. That was one thing that it wasn't there in the original one.
That's true.
When you click that search field, which, by the way, is easy to miss, because it says search for people in this little gray font. It has these people I may know, my friends, photos of my friends. And once you start doing those searches, they start, you can click that little search bar, and it can get more granular. Photos of my friends, photos of me and my friends, and friends photos liked by my friends. So it's giving you a lot more education, as it were, because that's the hard part. Why would you use this? Maybe if you just want to see friends maybe if you want to set up those lists and groups, you want to find out, okay, who are the people that I know in town versus, these folks are visiting from out of town, or whatever photos I was looking for from years ago. So maybe that's what it's for. But I think you're right, Sarah, that it's such a natural way to search that we've been trained to not do that because of Google and Bing and Alta Vista and everything we've ever used have these little terse terms. It's more of a natural language search.
And maybe that's all Facebook cares about, really, is like, we've got all of this data. Let's give people a tool because we can. it makes sense to be able to search this way. And maybe it's just not something that you're going to be doing on a daily basis.
This just screams marketing, though, right? You're looking for people over 35 with incomes of this, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to say, oh, I happen to be selling my Tesla S. So maybe you guys want to see it, as opposed to going through your email list and like, oh, that guy, I don't know what he's got. Okay, but this way it works a little bit better. And no, I don't have a Tesla, nor am I selling it.
Perhaps you're in the market to buy one, though.
So maybe somebody on Craft Search can find me and offer it to me. People who want Teslas.
All right, let's take a moment to thank TechServe, also a sponsor of this episode of Tech News Today. TechServe is New York's premier authorized Apple reseller and technology provider. If you hadn't heard of it, they serve creative professionals at all levels, from individual customers to big Fortune 100 companies. TechServe carries a range of Apple products, iPhones, iPads, iMacs, MacBooks, the list goes on, accessories, and has a range of partnerships with top vendors to facilitate efficient solutions for your business needs. So you might say, okay, well, like what? Some technology solutions are being deployed on iPads. So the Delta terminals at LaGuardia Airport, have you seen them? There's ones in Toronto, Minneapolis as well. You may have noticed that every seat in the terminal has an iPad. Not just any old iPad, but an iPad that's equipped with stuff that's helpful for travelers. So you can get real-time flight updates. You can use your iPad to order food or play games, browse the internet, check email while you're waiting. This is great stuff. Over 1.5 million visitors use these iPads in these terminals over just the past year. And the result has been a double-digit increase in food and beverage revenue and the highest customer satisfaction scores in participating airports. So there you go. OTG Management is the hospitality company behind Delta's terminals, and they went to TechServe to provide and configure and install the world's largest deployment of iPads to date. It's pretty cool. TechServe is the natural place to turn because they sell, support, they personalize, they configure, and they manage massive iPad projects just like this. From Delta terminals to schools to other kinds of operations. TechServe also provides ongoing support, so if your enterprise has a problem, help is no more than a phone call away. If you're thinking about adding iPads to your business, why not ensure the project's success with the world's most experienced partner? That's TechServe. If your business is considering anything like this in the workplace, contact TechServe today and receive a complimentary iPad deployment assessment. Just a little gift from us to you. Visit techserve.com/TNT, and TechServe will help you assess your current or your future iPad needs and give you advice to make it a success. That's once again, TechServe, TEKSERVE.com/TNT. All right, let's move on to a little more background information on Don Matrick and Zinga and the relationship between the two.
Yeah, just a quick bit of news there. Bloomberg, like I mentioned in the news views, Bloomberg reports that Don Matrick, when he was the head of Microsoft's entertainment division, was negotiating to acquire Zynga back in 2010, and the goal was to bolster Xbox with social games. And, the deal didn't go through. And Matrick just left Microsoft last week to become CEO of Zynga. Nicole, did Microsoft make a mistake by not buying Zynga, or did they dodge a bullet? Because Zynga 2010 probably was extraordinarily popular, and now it's kind of not.
Yeah, you could say that again. Didn't they lose? I think the stock price plunged around 66% since December 2011, according to Bloomberg. So I'm thinking Microsoft dodged a bullet here. Like they definitely dodged a bullet, and it makes me think that good, Matrick went to Zynga. Maybe because he saw something there that nobody else did, and maybe it's a good thing that he left Microsoft to join a company that he wanted to get in the first place, right?
It seems strange that Zynga wouldn't jump at this chance. Maybe they were too full of themselves at the time to think, oh yeah, we're fine. We're on Facebook and we'll be fine if we leave Facebook. But Microsoft and being on the Xbox, that would have been pretty big, because I would imagine it'd be tied to that. And Microsoft's got its hands in Facebook anyway. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I mean, don't you think maybe it was just Microsoft saying, yeah, sure, this is a pretty good idea. We've got somebody here who's championing the merging of the two companies, and Zynga wanted too much money. Maybe Microsoft, other people who are in charge of, okay, what should this deal be worth, say, Zynga is one of these in 2011, looks like it cannot fail, IPO, and sure enough, 2 years later, not even 2 years later, we have a very different scenario. So I think Don Matrick really does believe in gaming and the future of gaming. This seems like somebody who's a gaming, not just a veteran, but somebody who wants to stay in the game and also wants to lead a company, which is something that he wasn't able to do at Microsoft. So I don't think Microsoft made a mistake by not buying Zynga. It's sort of a roundabout way for me to be saying, yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I'm sure Microsoft is like, whew, just you go on over there. Best of luck to you. But we're going to go ahead with our Xbox One, and we don't need Zynga to be part of this initiative.
I wonder if this was a source of friction between Matrick and Microsoft, because he wanted this company 3 years ago, and he was looking at them. I'm sure the deals probably were going on and on throughout those 3 years. Obviously, Pincus and Matrick kept talking because he poached Matrick from Microsoft. But I'm very curious why.
But we still don't even know if if Matrick was poached
or
if this was
out,
hey, I gotta go somewhere else. Hey, Zynga, remember I really liked you a few years ago.
I almost bought you, so pay me instead. It just seems like I just think that Microsoft probably could have done a decent job with Zynga just fine. If anything, I always make fun of Microsoft's corporate culture because they're always at war with each other inside Microsoft. It would actually be an improvement for Zynga to be that functional if Microsoft bought them, because they're not exactly the best place to work at, for far as I've read. Maybe Matrick will change that.
Zynga also just has its own issues with marketing games. They've had hits, and then it was sort of just like, oh, we found the new model. You just get some game where there's in-app purchasing, and you make sure that you're on the Facebook platform, and all your friends are being pinged every time you use the game, and it's a no-brainer, win-win. And that really, it kind of ebbed and flowed, right? And at this point, you've still got some of those games, but it seems to be on the decline. It's not sustainable. Imagine if this was within the large enterprise, huge Microsoft situation. I can only imagine that being even harder to be able to ride the wave of like quick fads of gaming.
I wonder if Zynga games will come to Xbox now, because the weird thing is when Stephen Elop went over to Nokia, he used to be head of Microsoft Office. They've worked with Microsoft really well. The question is, will Matrick be like adversarial with Microsoft at Zynga now? Because let's see if the head of Xbox wants Zynga games at all on there, if Matrick's there.
All right, let's move on to a little interesting news about the app Shazam, which used to be about basically you hold up your smartphone or your iPad or something if there's a song, and it will keep that data from the song and send it to its servers and then say, oh, here's the song that you're listening to. And as of late, it's kind of gotten more into the TV game, wants to be part of the second screen experience. So Shazam has gotten a $40 million investment from Carlos Slim, who is one of the richest men in the world. He runs the company América Móvil, which is a Latin America telecom. He's 73 years old. He's been in the telecom sector and also an investor, runs a huge investment firm for quite a long time. But it's sort of an interesting partnership. Before Shazam, Slim's only forays into Europe, Shazam is a British-based company, was 4.8 billion euros into stakes in KPN, which is a Dutch operator, and Telekom Austria. Both of those have experienced huge losses, so he's lost some money there. América Móvil, which is Slim's company, has also agreed to promote Shazam across a dozen markets, give or take, that it operates throughout Latin America. Slim said in a statement, Shazam is defining a new category of media engagement that combines the power of mobile with traditional broadcast media and advertising. Now, over on the Shazam side, Andrew Fisher, who's executive chairman, said, within 18 months, we expect TV will significantly outperform the music side of Shazam, and that's part of this investment. Well, my first reaction was, what is this guy doing, investing in Shazam? And someone just tell him, like, this is what all the kids want, Shazam is all the rage. Or is Latin America really a good next frontier for Shazam that will help both entities? Nicole, does this seem like a good pairing to you, or is this somebody who's got so much money, doesn't know what to do with it, and why not?
It's interesting with Shazam, and you mentioned the whole TV ad buy situation when there's a TV ad showing, and there'll be like a little Shazam logo in the corner. So you can learn more about this product by putting up your phone to the TV, and maybe that's the angle here. Maybe they're putting more of these ads on like Telemundo or something like that, where you would see more of these ads, and therefore that's the whole Latin America ad tie-in, I would say. But it'll be really interesting. It's interesting to me. It'll be interesting to me to see how many people actually do that. How many people actually like bring out their smartphones and hold on, pause the TV. I wanna find out what this Toyota has more to say. I don't really feel a need to find out more about a Toyota ad that's on my TV, but maybe I'm unique in that way.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I see Shazam this here and there, and it's like companies like Procter & Gamble or Unilever, or there are these huge companies who have a variety of products where you sort of say, these are the sorts of companies that somebody sits in a room, somebody from Shazam, and they explain the technology, and they all go, that's awesome. So people could learn more about this just with their phones. Great, let's do it. Let's buy this technology. Let's partner up with Shazam. But then you have all these consumers saying, that's actually not the best use of this at all.
Well, Shazam already modifies people's behaviors, right? When you're in a restaurant or something, you hear a song you want to listen to, you're willing to take that action. There's something about TV trying to get you to do something. When you're watching a television, that's inherently a passive experience. And to get a viewer engaged in that, very difficult. But then again, with Shazam, you're kind of used to doing that. So maybe they think that, okay, you'll watch this show, you'll watch this commercial. By the way, they usually have the Shazam thing at the very end, so you have like 2 seconds to go. What? And there's nothing launches that fast. So I don't know what they're thinking with that. But if Shazam already modified behavior, maybe it could work on TV. But then again, they have websites as well at the end of Facebook.com/whatever, or it'd be Twitter.com/whatever. So it's already asking you to like do 3 or 4 actions at once. I don't know if Shazam's going to be the one, but then again, you might have that phone on you all the time. It's always your second screen. You're messing with it. How hard would it be just to hit the Shazam button if you can find it?
Yeah, maybe, and who knows? I mean, with the $40 million that Shazam gets from Carlos Slim and his entity, who knows how the app and the technology may grow. But it does seem like at this point, it's sort of like a follow us on Facebook. You know, make sure to check out our Twitter page. It's like, a lot of the big companies do that. I don't know who's utilizing any of that, but it's one of those things where it's a checkoff thing on some sort of a list of, are we hip? Yeah, we have a Shazam deal, so
it's like hip. Pinterest. It's like Pinterest, you know, like all these. It's like, okay, we have Facebook, we have Twitter. What else can we leverage in the social media space? Oh, Shazam, sure, let's add that as well. And it doesn't mean anything to most people, I think.
After a while, you'll have too many of those things. You'll like 15 of those buttons at the end of an ad.
Exactly.
And you're like, I'm not going to do anything. I don't even know what that says anymore. You're just going to get blind to all these logos. Like I'm doing now.
All right, well, what's the latest in the PlayStation TV saga?
Well, it's wild speculation time because Sony just filed for a trademark and service mark for PlayStation TV. Now, Sony had the trademark way back in 2006 and then abandoned it 6 years later in 2012, and they just filed for a PlayStation TV trademark again. And now Sony introduced a PlayStation-branded 3D TV back in 2011. That was that crazy one where 2 players could play at once with the same screen with a pair of polarized glasses. I want to do some wild speculation. Nicole, what do you think this is going to be? Is PlayStation TV going to be a television with PlayStation in it? Is that as lame as it is? Or is this something like just getting games to your television delivered?
I don't think it's going to be anything really crazy. I mean, I don't foresee Sony doing something that insane. Maybe as you say, maybe they put the TV, like a TV box or some kind of card into the PlayStation, or some kind of streaming service or something like that. But I can't imagine a television with PlayStation in it. That'd be crazy.
What are you thinking, Sony fangirl?
Well, yeah, but I'm not a PlayStation fan. Well, okay, so
you're a cord cutter. Oh, wait.
Cutter? What does this mean for me? Yeah, I'm like, do I care? How can I care? No, the PlayStation TV sounds a lot more like, yeah, we just want to make sure that this is something that we can own. I mean,
but they owned it already and they got rid of it. So the fact that they brought it back is the interesting thing to me. Why would they do it?
I think it's probably just because the whole trend is, you know, what's the next Apple TV thing, and you know, we've got Intel trying to get into TV, and this is just sort of this hot market, even though it's mostly based on speculation because nobody has really conquered it yet. But it does seem like eventually we're going to see this product that that changes the game again. And Sony's probably like, well, let's just make sure that PlayStation TV is locked up as well. And who knows? Maybe they're trying to put together an all-in-one solution that's a PlayStation and a TV. I mean, if you've got a PlayStation, you do need one. You need a TV. So it's not like it's a crazy idea.
Yeah, it's not much fun without the television.
To pair them together. Yeah. You could look at it. You could warm your hands on it, I guess.
So I think Sony is also has enough leverage to make content deals, perhaps, that maybe other internet TV people might not have that amount of leverage to like get content partnership deals. Like, I mean, Sony has Sony movies, right? And they have, you know, all their studios. So maybe they could come up with their own original content, perhaps.
I think it could be something as lame as rebranding that Sony Unlimited movies thing they have, the Crackle experience. Yeah. They have a bunch of properties that people don't even realize are Sony, or they have these silly names that just don't make any sense. If they were just called PlayStation TV, you'd kind of understand what's going on, because that's their big brand right now. It's their strongest brand.
That's interesting.
So if they united all that, because Crackle, does anybody really realize that Crackle is Sony?
I didn't until right now. And I mean, I've used Crackle here and there for years.
I like Crackle. They have free movies.
Well, but they have terrible commercials inserted into the middle of the movies.
Oh, they're not timed at all. They're just like, okay, every 45 minutes there'll be an ad. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of an emotional scene. Here's your ad for a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking
in acts of desperation, I've just been like, it's worth it. I need a movie. I'm going to Crackle.
There's also Gaikai, right? So they have Gaikai. I think they call it a PlayStation Cloud or something. That's their new name for it. I could see it combining all of this stuff into one experience, because that's what Kazurai has been trying to do anyway. Flatten Sony out, have one experience, and if you just knew that, oh, you get all of this stuff, you get gaming, you get videos, you get music with PlayStation TV, it's a lot easier as a message, because they have too many brands right now to actually make sense.
That absolutely makes sense. If you unify all of those kind of weird, I didn't know Sony owned this, offerings that have a variety of limited libraries, all of a sudden you've got a Netflix competitor and, you know, a gaming platform as well. Hey, how about that? Let's move on to the randomizer. This is kind of cool. Sometimes we sit around wondering what Vine is really good for, and do we all feel like we're being creative enough on Vine? This stop motion Vine that I found on Laughing Squid this morning says, no, I am absolutely not creative enough, because I am not recreating certain levels from Super Mario Brothers using food.
Yeah, so if you listen to the audio version of this.
We got some Cheez-Its. We got some small marshmallows here.
Yeah, Cheez-Its.
I think the pennies are the coins.
Do they actually have coins, or is that a candy? That's actually a penny. Why isn't that food?
Some lemon bar. So, you know, this is looping, of course. This is our little, you know, this is like, oh yeah, we know how this works. And then if you scroll down one frame, we've got.
Oh no, it doesn't. This is what I ended up getting, so I have to do it the long form way.
Oh, well, that's all right. This is part 2. Apparently, Hunter Harrison, who's the creator of these Vine videos, says he'll add more levels once he goes grocery shopping. Of course, you know, there's only so much food he had in the house at the time.
This is sad.
Some graham cracker action, maybe even Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
This is so sad that this is the most exciting Nintendo story we've covered in like months.
Also, the best use of Vine I've seen.
Well, now do you hate Vine less?
That's delicious.
Sarah, you're a Vine hater.
I don't hate Vine. I'm indifferent. I am indifferent.
Well, is this the way people will watch Vine videos? They don't want to do it in the app. They don't want to see it on Twitter. But if it's reposted this way, people will pay attention and then go to Vine?
Well, this is like... Nicole, and please chime in if for some reason you love Vine and this is all, very offensive to you. But it's like, I find this is stop motion is not new. The whole Vine thing is like, oh, look, you can just do it in a short amount of time and it'll loop back and forth and it's a social network. Yay, it's owned by Twitter. But I mean, this guy, Hunter Harrison, could have put this together in a different way. He's just using a medium that's popular right now, which is awesome.
He's also using a medium for stop motion, I feel, is way easier than a lot of other alternatives,
That's
right?
a good point.
How many people are creating stop motion animations with Vine that never would have had they not A, downloaded Vine, and B, it been incredibly easy to make these things with? Otherwise, they may never have thought to do it.
Yeah,
and you have a lot of people like experimenting with it as a result.
I think, Jason, you're exactly right. It's easier. It's just easy. All you have to do is just hold down the screen for like less than a second or two to make that little still. I mean, the reason why I like Vine is because it's short and it's quick, and there's no crazy mechanics involved in making a stop motion video like that. Although you do set it up obviously, but there's no like crazy soft. There's no like GIF maker or whatever you call it to sort of create this like fancy Adobe software to create this interesting, very very interesting stop motion. I think.
Yeah, okay. I guess we can say Vine is bringing out the creative in all of us.
Go
or
ahead
at
and
least
say it, Sarah.
Some people who have
Vine is
snacks.
fine.
Fine.
There you
Fine
go.
is fine. Yeah, you heard it here.
Oh, no.
All right. Never thought I'd say that. It's great. Fine, you've arrived. Thank you, Jesus. Ayaz, what's on the calendar?
There are days on the calendar. Tomorrow, July 9th, Dropbox is going to hold its first DBX Developer Conference.
Whee!
And then way out on August 7th, LG is holding an event in New York. The invitation says, "Great to have you," with the G and the number 2 larger than the rest. Could it be about the G too? Well, yeah, probably.
No, really?
Probably.
There you go.
Oh, that's good.
That's it.
That's good stuff. Well, that is about it for this episode of TNT. Nicole Lee, thank you so much for joining us. It was awesome to have you. Tell folks what you're up to lately and where they can find your work online.
Sure. You can always check me out twitter.com/Nicole. You can also go to just engadget.com and you see my stories there occasionally. I'll be at the Dropbox thing tomorrow, actually. So maybe you'll find some things about that tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us. As always, come back soon. Also, thanks to everybody who submitted stories to our subreddit, technewstoday.reddit.com. Even if you don't want to submit a story, you can at least participate in voting the stories up or down. We look at them and include stories that we know that you want us to talk about in our lineup every day. So thanks to everybody who is part of our Tech News Today subreddit. We are almost 17,000 readers strong now. It's amazing.
It is.
Thanks to all of you.
37 people there right now at this very moment.
Hello to all of you who are our top 37 for your life. Also, you can get a hold of us. You can write us at tnt@twit.tv. You can leave us a voicemail at 260-TNT-SHOW. Tomorrow's guest, none other than Scott Johnson, Mr. Frog Pants himself. Until next time, have a good Monday, everybody. See you later.